your body. You got a big old fat ass, girl. All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday morning, ready to do some feedback. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair.
The unofficial sport is bullet ball and bullet ball extreme. Feedback episode is where we go through all the stuff y'all had to say throughout the week about what we talked about. So we got comments on our website, we got emails, we got votes in the post, we got voicemails, we got 5-star reviews, we got a little bit of everything from you guys, and we just let you know what we thought about what you had to say. The best and probably fastest way to get to all this stuff is to look in our show notes. If you look in our show notes for our podcast, each episode is like, here's a link to the website, here's a link to our Teepublic Store. We have all kinds of cool shirts and stuff that we sell in the Teepublic Store.
Here's a link to go premium. If we have guests, we have their links in there. We have a lot of links in there. When people had to go live, all that is in like the show notes.
Yeah, so make sure you guys do that. With no further delay, because I got a big busy day today, let's go ahead and get into the people that took the time out to donate to us. They went to the blackguywhotips.com, looked on the right hand side, and they said, "Lo, let me hook you up, player." And they can hit us up one time, recurring donation, any amount, doesn't matter. Everybody gets a shout out. Yeah, we appreciate you. So let's get with this.
May I have a reduction? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own with Rod and Aaron. We welcome the good folks who time to the Black Wire Tips.
All right, new hellos, new dineros. Let's see. Corey B, recurring donator. Thank you, Corey. Jeff M, thank you for the recurring donation. Got a one-time donation. Now this is interesting. I got this through Cash App. Oh, and it's for, I normally don't say how much these are for, but it's for $46, which is, I turned 46 years old on Monday. So shout out to Earl for hooking your boy up with the birthday present. I appreciate you. Early Days of Photography, recurring donator. Nicole F, J Full, Marvin B, yes, Marvin B, Michael W, Mako H, Asia D, Chriselle B, Annie P, Annie, help you okay. Tom W Jr., Michael S, David from Brooklyn. Then we got this from my boy Sting, who always be wearing the fly suits whenever we do a live show and stuff.
Right?
Rod, dearest of all my friends, happy birthday. Another $46. Okay, I see y'all. I see what y'all doing out here. I appreciate y'all. Our girl Mary came through and gave us the one-time donation. I'm assuming for my birthday. Okay, now I don't want to say how much it was because it's gonna make the $46 people feel bad, but it was a lot. It was a lot. Thank you, Mary. Dana R, Julian N, Nicholas Z, Bomani Jones, and last Laura E. Woo, feeling a lot of monetary love right now. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Play us out, choir. Every time I listen to that part, I just feel like it's a dude on the bass with a stank face, like doo 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 doo.
Somebody on the drums counting the beats.
Yeah, someone on YouTube, I deleted the comment, but was saying like sometimes the sound is messed up with the musical interludes, and it's because of the setting on Crowdcast, and I think I just have to be more mindful of when to turn it on and off. So hopefully if you're listening on YouTube, you're not hearing anything messed up with the music. If you are, let me know. Right. And I'll switch the setting back because I don't know which way it is and which way it isn't.
It's weird. We don't know.
All right. 5-star reviews. Let's check them out. We got a few. So we got I'm gonna go with September 20th. Amazing. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reviews since September 20th.
That's what I'm talking about. They trying to make up for your birthday. Thank you very much.
It says amazing 5 stars by Ballard M, who says Rod and Karen provide this white dude the black perspective on the world while being super funny. Thank you. Welcome, buddy. Sugar Grits for Life says, Kev on stage, is this you? That's your alias.
That's your fake name, Kev.
Putting 5 on it, 5 stars. Love this show so much. Even by my username is inspired by it. Y'all are hilarious. I mean, Karen's puns alone had me crying laughing and so informative. I appreciate that you guys take a measured approach when discussing politics, pop culture, other news, especially in a climate where everyone has to be first and have a hot take. P.S. Rod, I'm not giving up on you. Open your heart and accept that sugar and butter belong in grits too. Keep doing your thing. Love y'all. Never will I accept it.
Thank you for the puns. I'll be trying my best.
Should I accept having 1 foot too? Should I accept that? Number 1 for fresh takes, having a Coke with Steve is the name of this user. I can always count on Rod and Karen to share perspectives I would not hear anywhere else. Funny, insightful, and smart. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? I always like to hear that people aren't hearing what we say other places, but at the same time, I never have got on the microphone and thought I'm gonna give you a perspective because I just want to be different from everybody. I just really feel like we're so gone when it just comes to like discussion and being honest in public
and nuances
and and having like some actual context. Like I just feel like so much of that is missing, and so much of mainstream dialogue is just piss poor, uninformed hot takes that go viral.
Yep.
And it's so hard to respect that when I don't even feel like we work that hard when it comes to finding out information, but it just, I think that's what makes me respect it even less when I see like someone with a major platform and they just say like Democrats and Republicans the same, right? And you're just like, oh man, I know what you just did. You just did that because you know it'll go viral and people will get mad on either side or they'll agree and they'll fight. But you and the algorithm will win. You'll be right and I'll be wrong when it comes to whose show is going to be more popular. You'll always win. But man, the integrity, because you could look that up, you know the answer, but damn.
Yeah, and also it's just one of those things where everybody has to accept that everybody doesn't want to grow, and particularly in a capitalistic society, is grow, bigger, larger, catch all the people. And sometimes you're like, I don't want to grow. I'm not trying to catch everybody.
Well, here's what I would say, Karen. I do want our show to grow. I'm not anti our show growing. This is not a matter of me saying like, well, fine, we just won't have it. I'd love for people to like what we do more than people that are giving them uninformed bullshit. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be that way. I don't lose sleep over it. Right. This is not angst. I'm not jealous or any of that stuff. But it is a thing that, oh, you want to give a long form nuanced opinion? Fuck that shit. If you can just come out here and be like, black women be mad, right? And they'll hit you. That shit is gonna be number one top trending every time.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, I'm not saying not grow. I should phrase that differently. What I'm saying is we are comfortable with where we are. And the people that come our way, we want them to say, okay, and actually listen. Like when you come over here, you're not coming over here for the hot takes. That's why I say we're not trying to quote unquote catch everybody. We're just not.
Yeah.
Because our net is not designed.
I don't think those people that do that bullshit are trying to catch everybody. But that's not my point. I get what you're saying. I just, like I said, it's not even what I'm just saying. It's funny. We're not trying to do anything different or special. I think almost everybody is capable of doing a podcast like ours if they just took a fucking second to breathe and think and to not have to jump to an extreme every single time they react to something. But that's not as entertaining. We'd have a more entertaining show if we were less informed or more like we just jumping on something and we're not even going to think about it. We're not going to give any credit or charity to anybody. We're just always going to be like, this is the worst motherfucker in the world today. And those shows do well. So, we just have to, this is our lane and I'm comfortable with it. But it's a shame that our lane isn't huge because so many people out there are like, I'd rather hear Joe Budden say something kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather hear that. And I'm not saying his name to shit on him. I'm just saying like, That it's just easier, and it's true. They'd rather hear Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's big thing is I'm not informed.
Right.
I'm always just kind of asking questions. They'd rather hear that. Rod and Karen are public scholars, the best podcast. Let me make sure I can see who this is from. It's from Shink A1, who says, I cherish Rod and Karen, so I'm re-upping my 5-star review. They are public scholars sharing their knowledge, compassion, and joy. If you want to avoid stupidity and foolishness, get into the Black Guy Who Tips. If you want to bring more wisdom, fun, and thoughtful conversation into your life, get into this podcast. If you can go premium, do it. They have even more content with movie reviews, intelligent and not racist sports and nerd shows. Well, some racist. Karen and Rod, it's a little bit. Karen and Rod routinely elevate the national and international conversation. You can also have fun playing games with them and listen to their show recaps. The Blackout Tips is an excellent podcast. Thank you. We got 3 more. Updated review. This is from Quan Dalu. Says, updated review. I still love this show. It's funny and it makes you think. I've been listening for years now. Still my number 1 choice in podcast. Keep up the good work, you two. Thank you.
Thank you. Shout out to the updates and the reviews. Thank you.
You can always re-up a review.
Yes, you can.
We got another updated review. 5 stars for the birthday chick. This is from Amaniani, who says, just updated my review of the show. It's a great time to become Tipper. Rod and Karen had the best commentary about politics during the election year. They're hilarious, and I love the way they love on each other. That's it. Update over. Then it says, thought I was going to update my original review from 5 years ago, but I see that it's gone. Maybe that happened when the show moved to Spotify for a while. Anyway, Karen and Rod are simply the best podcasters out right now or in the future. Oh, so this is an old updated. She updated this review more than once. God damn.
three updates.
I'm going to keep reading it. Fuck it. Out there right now or in the future. The Blackout Tips is an intelligent, hilarious show. If you love blackness, black love, and believe swords need to be regulated, you'll find a home here. They have the dopest music to introduce their show segments, dance along to LGBTQ news, COVID-19, effing with black people, and other hits that were created by fans of the show, not to mention their incredible recaps. Even if you don't watch The Walking Dead, Insecure, Game of Thrones, or This Is Us, you'll still love listening to their funny, thoughtful takes on these shows. Rod and Karen are amazing podcasters who give so much to their fans. Just all around good people. They give us 3 to 4 shows a week, y'all. 4 or 5 if you count the feedback show. And trust, you want to listen to the feedback show. Oh, and they have premium content, movie reviews, nerd off, sports stuff. I don't even care about sports, and they still making an amazing listening. That's what we here for.
Yeah, that's what it's so many people. If y'all don't know, behind the paywall, that it be there every time we do balls deep. They're like, I don't know nothing about sports, but I like y'all sports. And we've had people to go, y'all know what? When they be having conversations at work, I could put my 2 cents in. That's what we here for.
Yeah, sports not that fun.
It ain't.
You get around the sports. Like, the sports part of it is actually the least fun.
You don't give a fuck about them numbers. Fuck athletics. Don't give a fuck about athletics.
Okay, hopefully this review will last about a few years unless they get another big time exclusive deal that's so amazing. Won't be surprised if it happens. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of did. Let's see. Last one is always entertaining and insightful from Yanni Time, who says, excellent, very well thought out content. I started listening to Rod and Karen from the Karen Hunter show and have only been impressed with you two as individual people. You make the world a better place. Thank you.
Ooh, shout out to Karen.
Yeah, Karen Hunter has sent so many people our way.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been, I look forward to every Friday. I wasn't able to be there yesterday because we didn't have power.
We sure did.
The hurricane got us. We weren't able to do our Nerd Off show.
It took us down.
We was just in here hot as hell. Like, thank God we keep it cool in the house so that when the power was out, it wasn't too bad most of the day.
Right.
But it was, we keep it cold. It was not cold. And we was just in here like it was, do the right thing, rubbing ice on nipples and trying to keep it cool.
Ooh, child. And me and Roger was joking about the app, the neighborhood app, child. They had jokes. They was mad. I was like, y'all is wilding on that app.
Yeah, so we will try to make up the Nerd Off hopefully sometime this weekend.
Yeah.
Figure some time out where we can do that because I also have like a family event today, so I don't have time to I may or may not have time to do it. I also would like to go to the gym because I wasn't able to work out during the hurricane. We had
the rain.
I wanted to go outside and do like an hour walk. It was too fucked up. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I wanted to go to the gym. We didn't have power. I think gym was closed, schools were closed. It was crazy. So Oh man, hopefully I'll figure something out today and get this timing done. But that means we need to get to your comments other places, the website and all that stuff. So let me play a little bit of music that hopefully won't be a problem for people listening on YouTube later. People listening now, it might sound kind of weird. But yeah, let me go ahead and play this. Shout out to Infrared Crypto. All right. Let's get to these episodes. The first episode of the week was a feedback episode called 2980. Most people don't do the reading. We had 8 comments. Let's see what they had to say. Lil P says, regarding middle names, we gave our kids their bio mom's name as their middle name because when we adopted them, her name was automatically taken off of the birth certificate, which felt wrong to us. We wanted to make sure that there was a way for them to keep their mom's name alive and to show the bio family that we were serious about staying in touch with them and that we weren't ever going to try to erase her memory.
I wonder why they do that.
Do what?
Take the biological mother's name off.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild. I remember when my aunt down here in North Carolina tried to adopt me. My biological mother, who's passed, she was mentally ill and she couldn't take care of me, the medications and things like that. And they had to fight her to sign the papers because her biggest thing was like, if you take my baby, you change her name. And my Aunt Cora had to promise her. She was like, I won't change your name. I will never do that because, I honor you. Like, you're my sister. There's no way I would do that. But a lot of people do that and they just kind of just strip the past from the child and keep the child uninformed about who they really are. And she's like, no, I never do that. So the name my mama gave me has always been my name until I got married. And so, my thing is, if you go do it, I agree, that is their biological mother. I understand some parents might not want to be contacted. That's a whole nother thing. But if they actually want to be contacted and be active, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I hear what everything y'all saying, but you're not gonna trick me, Lil P. It's not worth your kid possibly being one of these serial killer slash killer president ass niggas just because you needed to have them have a middle name. You could have got them a chain. You could have hyphenated the last name. You could have done a lot of things. You took a risk, okay? And I mean, I hope you love your kids, but I can't know for sure because you gave them a middle name, which means if we find out this motherfucker took a shot at a president 10 years from now, I got to look back at this moment and be like, was it really that important? I don't think so.
Don't you listen to them?
Ain't no 2 name assassins.
Ain't no 2 name assassins.
Appia says about the checks again, now playing the immigrant card because that's what I can. So I came to Germany when I was 12 and we were poor at first. When I worked my first jobs, I got cash. And when I worked in a factory over the summer, they did direct deposit. The talking shit about women. Well, here's the thing, Appia. I'm not really talking about just you. Sometimes on this podcast, I be talking about Germany.
Appia had that cash on me.
People. Now I know you would do dirt person and you get paid direct deposit.
Right.
Because that's just how it is.
We kind of paid under the table, right?
When you sell drugs to your community, sure. They
pay you cash.
That's a cash only business, even in America. They don't write checks for drugs.
No, they do not.
But for those of us that don't deal drugs, many of us were paid with checks at some point in our lives. The talking shit about women is also done among white women. There's a belief that Eastern European women would be more traditional, cook and bake all the time and wear full hair and makeup and pumps and be more appreciative to their husband for the wealth he provided for her here. Think Melania, even if I don't know about her cooking. I was told that by several men who were interested in me that they like me more for being from Eastern Europe for that reason. You are a real woman, Appia, not like these full German ones. Yeah. People say a lot of shit that's just about getting some vagina.
Yeah, and and it's sad, but for a lot of men, they look at women, and we said this was property. It's like, if you can fuck me and feed me, I'll be satisfied. I don't care about nothing else. We have children out the mix, great, but it's one of them things. But those are my two top agendas, and be my maid. As long as you can do those things, I don't give a fuck about you or your personality and nothing else about you. I can beat you, abuse you, do whatever I want to you, because I don't consider you a whole ass human being. That's what they say when they say bullshit like this. They'll tell you that they respect women and that they love women. No, you don't.
Yeah, I would just also say, like, a lot of times dudes run that game on women to be like, you're not like other women. And I think a lot of women obviously peep game and see it as the insult that it is, which is like, women in general fucking suck, but you're different. You're not like those other women. You don't need a man to provide for you or whatever, or you don't need to stand up for yourself. You know how to cook and clean like a good woman should. And so it's always kind of a weird backhanded compliment anyway, and I never believe those people anyway. They, at the end of the day, the thing they're going to discover about you, this is the same thing they would discover about any other woman, is that you're still a woman,
Right.
and you still, for whatever reasons, mostly life experiences, you're not dumb. You've experienced things. You do not buy completely into this patriarchal bullshit, you, because of your experiences. It's like when they tell a black person, like, you're one of the good ones. That's the biggest insult you can give me.
Yes, it is.
Because what you're saying is the default for black people is that they're mostly bad. So I would never fuck with you. You're not gonna be my friend. And I think women see through that shit too. I was told as if this is something good. Well, that was an immediate disqualification because I'm not like that. I provide my own wealth and I want to be liked for being me and not some man's Eastern European fever dream. Yeah, and I don't ever mean to imply that the gender wars thing is just the domain of black people. We do a black ass podcast and we end up talking about a lot of black gender wars because of such, but it is not only our thing. And even with black men in this case, as I say every time I talk about this, I'm not saying black men are somehow worse than anybody. I don't believe that. I think if we're being honest and look at history, white men are the worst to ever do the manhood thing. But the issue I always bring up is, as black men, we experience a level of marginalization at being black that you would hope would give us some empathy and insight into what other people's marginalization is like when it comes to being a woman, when it comes to being a black woman, when it comes to being LGBTQ, whatever. It doesn't mean you have to be those things to say, oh, I can recognize that this is a society that is not letting you be yourself and penalizing you as such. And I think it's sad when I see brothers get caught up in the like, no, that's different. That's so different. I don't need to feel any empathy towards that person. I hate that. Abia says the princesses in old times had it better than other people in some ways, for sure, like they had wealth, but also marrying them to a rich guy was a real way for their parents to get income. The poor farmer girl had at least some chance to meet the future husband in the village before the marriage, or if the father had two guys who were into her, say who she liked better. Yeah, but you can't trick me on this, Appia. Nice try. The problem with this is you're assuming that the princes would not have any of these options, but the poor farmer girl would. That's not necessarily true. A princess could have a king that does love her and wants her to be married. Like, you pick between these two princes. So all this stuff applies. And in most cases, the vast majority of us would rather be in the princess's shoes of old times than the poor farmer girl. It just is what it is. The princess was fully on sale for the highest bidder. Well, that's only in the case that you're making, in which it has to be this way, but not always was it that way. There's been wars started because people was like, my princess ain't going to the highest bidder. Fuck you.
Right.
Often to a man whom she didn't even speak the language. She might have been 15 and had to marry a 60-year-old. That is also many a farm girl that has been 15 and had to marry a 60-year-old. So that ain't nothing. I mean, shit, 15 in America, farm girl, they used, back in the 1800s, you was an old bitch. It was like, what's wrong with her pussy? She 15. She ain't got no man.
You were old and anxious. You ain't popped out no kids. You were like, God damn, 15?
Crazy. Like, this is a fucked up world. Like, it's bad for women everywhere. Everything was bad for women, and now it's way better. But also, women hating is always alive and well. See the abortion laws in your country. Exactly. Hustler No Flow says, you two were discussing the Poor Mind segment with the shits and giggle guys and how the Houston Rays host felt it like it wasn't their place to stick up for Atlanta women. The thing is, Atlanta is a heavy transplant city. So in addition to the homegrown peaches, many of the hotties are from Houston and New York and California, anywhere in HBCU is in every major city and many rural black areas across the country. So when they said they hadn't seen any hotties, that also meant that none of the Houston grown black women that they came across here in Atlanta were hotties. It was a weak deflection that didn't make much sense from the Poor Minds host, and they didn't even try to play it off as a fight or flight like the guys. Yeah, I hear you, Hustle No Flow, and that's what I said about those hosts is that they actually handled it better than shits and giggles. Because and Andrew Schultz was right about this. You know, I know people don't like that, but it's the truth. It's better to just be like, fuck it, we don't care that you're mad, we're gonna continue to do our show and just pretend that we didn't see what y'all said. It's not right, but just by showing that they had any level of contrition or felt bad, all they did was just make people go harder. I haven't seen too many people that went, you know what, they apologized, they fucked up, they didn't mean to, they said it was fight or flight, I'm back on board, I'm cool. Most of the people even writing into our podcast, which typically are more reasonable, laid back people, are like, fuck them, fuck their show, I'll never listen again, they lost a listener. Like, you're almost, and I'm not saying they should, I wouldn't do it, but you're almost better off just being like, fuck it. And the reason that the Poor Minds women will not probably lose listeners or just won't lose no sleep over it is because they're just like, I said what I said.
Right.
Y'all mad? Oh, well.
Yes. Yeah, right. And now joke aside, I kind of respect that, because if that's your truth, that's your truth. And people don't like that because them people, which a lot of them out there, don't give a fuck. So when people don't give a fuck, people don't be out there, people don't be in their ass, people don't complain, people don't be fussing and fighting at them because they know those people do not give a fuck about what you got to say.
Once you give a fuck, unfortunately, you end up in this cycle where there's a certain type of person that gets off on you twisting and twirling because they don't approve of you. And you keep doing more and more to try to show them like, no, I'm a good person, I just made a mistake. No, fuck that. This is how you always been. You secretly always been like this. You will always be like this. Fuck you. I'm out of here. Guys, please. I know I messed up, but blah, blah. Nope, it doesn't matter. Like, and so they kind of fucked up by doing it. And it's just human nature. All these people that try to make this appeal of like, yo, I fucked up, but they just all end up getting twisted in the wind. You know, we'll probably talk about Chapel Roan tomorrow or throughout the week. But one of the main things I said about the stuff she's going through, she's a singer, very famous singer, who made a post, who did an interview and said both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are bad, but blah, blah, blah. Then later on, she went on Instagram Live and was like, okay, I am going to vote. I'm going to vote. But both sides are bad. I don't agree with all their policies. I don't agree with all the Democrats or all the Republicans, kind of still making it seem like they're both about the same. And then eventually she did another one and got super mad and said like, what aren't you getting or whatever? This is like, I'm voting for fucking Kamala, like said her name, pronounced it wrong and all this shit. And we'll get into it tomorrow. But my main thing about that was, she's too online.
Yep.
You're hyper online. You did an interview in like Rolling Stone or whoever, Variety, whatever you did the interview on. Girl, you should have left it there. You said what you said. You gonna have to leave it to people to think you're a good or bad person. That's really up to them. There's nothing you can do to control it. And because you thought what you were saying was something everybody was gonna, they're all bad. And that's not the current environment. The current environment is very much a don't fuck around and find out. We have witnessed what 2016 was like when people said shit like that.
Yep.
And you, as a person that's an advocate for LGBTQ people, your name is made after like drag culture and all this stuff. You acting like both sides are the same, saying you don't agree with the transphobia of the Democrats or the such and such of the Republicans, as if any comparison between who's transphobic and not with legislation for the fucking Republicans versus the Democrats is a crazy fucking thing. And you reveal yourself not to be the brightest bulb or whatever. But most importantly, what you revealed is that you give a fuck what the internet thinks about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a non-winning battle, because look at you now. You're spinning out. She canceled the show last night.
Canceled the show.
Like, and it's all because she's online. If she went to that show, you know what would have happened? Nothing. She would have been fine.
Yes.
Everybody who paid for a ticket wants to see her. That's your home crowd. That's like us not doing a live show because someone got mad at something we tweeted. That's crazy. The people showing up and paying money to be in that building with us love us and want to see us win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's anyway. So all that stuff to say, like, that reminds me of Shits and Giggles. They got caught up in the comment section, and they probably, if they really did mean to apologize, because I don't want to take that off the table. It is possible they fucked up and they really do need to do better, and they saw they need to do better and they're going to do better. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader and I don't listen to their show.
Nope, only time will tell.
But so taking that off the table, and let's say it's cynical and all this shit. If that's the case, man, just say it once and leave it alone.
Yep.
And just let people be mad, because it is what it is.
I 100% agree. If you're going to apologize and just keep it moving, because people are going to feel however they're going to feel about your actions. You're not going to change their opinions. Some people will watch you and be like, oh, okay, that was real. But for most people, because we live in such a hot take society, once decisions are made, they make them and then they either stay or they leave. Like for a lot of people, there's no nuance behind it. And also for some people, they're very hurt. And they feel like, hey, did you cross that line? I can't deal with this, and I'm not coming back. And they have the right to feel like that, and they have the right to not forgive you.
That's the thing. You gotta let them have that.
Right.
You're not gonna woo them back with whatever. Especially if people don't feel like you're really sorry. You know what I mean? And for the most part, these days, people never feel anyone sorry unless they already like that person.
Agreed.
Like, I'll see them allow that if they just, like, I'm a fan of Megan Thee Stallion, so she apologized, I'm with it. I'm a fan of Cardi B, she apologized, I'm with it. But like, if you're not a fan of that person, ain't shit they can do. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I get why Poor Minds was like, fuck it, because they understand already. It's sad, but that's the truth.
Yeah. You know what? Most people ain't really paying them no attention. They still doing their show. They still doing their thing. And people bring them up, but, they're like, bitches, we don't care. And they just like, our fan base gonna fuck with us. And the way they feel, which I get, they're going, you're complaining. We don't care. And odds are, you don't listen to our shit. So who gives a fuck? Because we went viral, so it ends up going into spaces where people don't know who we are or didn't even know we existed. Yeah,
they're ready to be not liked, and there's a huge power in being able to handle people not liking you. Mm-hmm. Rona Raphael says, I'm reporting you to the Federal Bureau of Stop the BS since the true crime aficionados came up with this middle name conspiracy. I've been receiving threats from pretend presidents asking me to take them out and get rewarded after. I'm just a humble law-abiding citizen who has never harmed a fly, mosquitoes, or self-defense. Stand your ground covers that. Agents will be in touch, or you can now recognize that middle name guys are superheroes too. I got proof in the Constitution, aka comic books. Disagree. EVE says, I'm following up to your question about Shits and Giggles comments saying they didn't have to apologize. I saw that video on TikTok and it's no longer there. And when I looked into it further, I realized it was a fan page and it probably wasn't them liking the comments. So that's totally my mistake for not digging deeper the first time. Well, I actually appreciate you following up and coming back, because, I'm not contrarian, but I'm a little bit skeptical and cynical after being online for a long period of time. And a lot of times I sniff out bullshit, not because I'm giving people such great credit, but because sometimes the stuff people say people do is so egregiously stupid that it's hard for me to believe. And so I'm like, did this happen? Or did this happen? Are y'all making people get more and more upset? And, Evie, you've written into the show for years, cool person. But EVE is also, you're prone to like, fuck this person, fuck that move, right? So it would make sense. My friend Randolph is like this. It would make sense that you see something, it confirms your biases, and you're like, must be true, fuck them. And a little bit more research, a lot of times you'll see like, oh, motherfuckers are now making content to make us feel that way, because they know we feel that way. and then we run with it like facts. It's how misinformation spreads. It's how it works. It's very smart, and it gets all of us. I got by some misinformation the other day. A headline to an article was saying how the voter rolls in North Carolina purged like 800,000 people, like, and it's only like 2 months into the election, and da da da. And so I was like, yeah, check your registration. You know, I read the article, like everybody they trying to steal this election. Someone in the Charlotte Observer saw my comment and wrote an article about the actual process. And the process is actually a combination of years long stuff. And most of the people expunged from the voter rolls are people that had moved within the state. So they were duplicates where they had 2 addresses on the voter rolls, but there's still only one person. So they were just getting rid of the duplicates.
Okay.
You have to have not voted in, at this point, 4 elections to have been taken off. So it's not like if you voted last year in any off-cycle election, in the last 2 presidential elections, you couldn't be taken off. So basically, if you've been inactive for about 16 years, they can say move this person out the voter rolls,
which is a long time.
Bipartisan, right? It is a bipartisan organization, meaning it's not Republicans or that thing where the people call in and just say, I don't like that this black person is voting too much. It's not that. And so I was spreading misinformation by being like, now, I mean, I'm glad. Go check voter.org, make sure you register. But I was spreading misinformation. I was like, this is them trying to steal the election. They're not. And I did retweet that, quote tweeted it, and I added a link to the article, and I put something in there about, yo, I'm not trying to spread misinformation. Hey, when that happens, here is something that gives the full context of exactly what's happening with the voter rolls, but still take your time to make sure you're registered to vote at vote.org, and so that you can vote for president and everything, right? So what I'm saying is my biases are heavily against people that do voter, like, still try to suppress our vote,
right, and purge.
So
right.
It didn't take much for me to be like, oh, this is what this is. All that to say, if you already don't fuck with shits and giggles, or you already assume that, you know, these black men hate black women and that's a default, of course it's like, oh, here's a video of them liking all the comments. Oh, what? And then you find out like, oh, they weren't. That wasn't them. Or it was a fan page. Or somebody else misunderstood it or did understand it and sold it to you like it was something else.
Right.
I probably still won't listen to them again because of a combination of comments they made that doesn't sit right in my spirit. I don't begrudge anyone sticking with them because they're not as bad as some other podcast bros who are completely out of pocket, like the clowns fit and fresh. Well, yeah, that's the other thing too is, and I try not to, I hope people don't lose perspective of it, but it's sad, but it's true. You know, I also get it. The world is harsh. There's not a lot of places that people feel safe. There's not a lot of black podcast men that actually look out for black women and treat them with some respect as listeners. You know, there's a lot of like, we kind of, it's the boys club, and if anything, women are listening to this, oh, what's wrong with them? Or I hope you bitches understand what we got to say. Ha ha. Mm-hmm. And so Shits and Giggles, for the most part, did have a show where after they got that huge boost of black women support, where they did seem like they at least thought about black women might be listening to this. I know that's a low ass bar, but I can that's Shits and Giggles. I'm sorry, not Fit and Fresh, but I can understand people sticking with them just because it's like, have you seen the fucking podcast landscape of two black men talking to each other? This is one of the best. You know, the problem was they should have never went on that fucking show, if we're being honest. Because whatever they had said in the past, most people found out through them going on that show.
Right.
Speaking of Fit and Fresh, did you hear one of them went on a little Nazi chat because he thought they had some common ground on Twitter, and they called that man all kind of racial slurs. I was like, the old black woman in the wheelchair. Do I think I feel sorry for that? Beep. I don't. No, I did not, because I don't keep up with them. I'm gonna be real with you. Anyway, thank you, Ryder Karen, for your integrity and being a podcast where I know I won't be blindsided with some bullshit. The fact that you stand up for black women and black people in general and have thoughtful and well-researched discussion and you're funny makes the Blackout Tips the top tier podcast. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And look, I'm gonna be honest, you never know when you're gonna get blindsided, because we could get blindsided. Mm-hmm. But you know, I mean, it's not hard for me because I'm naturally empathic, but also like I don't feel like we're having to pander. There's no thought process to go through like, hey, Karen, we're gonna talk about this topic on the show. How do we make sure black women don't get offended? Like, that's not even a thought for me. My goal is never to just offend anybody. And also, we don't do a show where the whole point is like we're being offensive. Anybody could get it, because all those shows end up being the same. They say anybody can get it, but what they really mean is here's where we pick on women, here's where we pick on gay people, here's where we pick on black people. Like, it's never anybody can get it is very a limited thing. Anyway,
and also it's been times, particularly with me being a black woman, it's things that I've said that other black women didn't always agree with, and it's one of those things where my perspective is my perspective, and I'm glad that you appreciate that. But sometimes people are just out there. Sometimes they happen to be black women when you're like, bitch, what's wrong with you?
Well, I'm glad people appreciate it, but it is what it is. We're giving our opinions, and as I've said a million times, I would never call our podcast a safe space for anything, because I don't believe there's a safe space, period. Like, I just don't believe in that. I think the intention is to be a place of fun and coming together, but we're doing a live show several times a week, speaking for hours. I can't promise that to any individual listener, just says I don't know what would set them off.
That's true.
We had the person that wrote in to be like, or left a voicemail or wrote in or something, left a comment. I think it was left a comment on YouTube that thought the conversation with us and Chris was journeying into fucked up towards black women, and I do not agree with that. So I can't promise her that it's a safe place for her to listen, because if that's how you feel about that conversation, a conversation I don't even register as like fucked up. How can I promise you you're safe? You see what I'm saying? So I would never do that. CG says, so but I take the compliment. We appreciate that you like what we do.
We do.
CG says, so I think the podcast you were talking about where they basically talk about random stuff is, yeah, dude. My white friend tried to put me on back in the day, but even then there's always something with these edgy white dudes that's just talking that leaves me with trepidation.
Right.
So you listening, yo?
No. Listen.
Hold on. I did listen.
Oh, okay.
They not edgy. So like that's like you accepted the premise that CG wrote of like, right, these edgy white dudes. I'm saying I listened to it for years. They weren't edgy. Like these weren't like edgelord offensive jokes. They were literally, it was, if anything, was so mild to me. These niggas, now maybe they've turned into something since. It's been years and years and years since I listened. But when I was listening, I stopped listening because I got bored. Like, no offense to them dudes. Hopefully they're not listening to this. But I just listened because I was like, they don't be talking about nothing. But it was like a funny improv. It was just, they would start with some bullshit and build on it. And then an hour later, the podcast is done. 30 minutes later, it's done. And it didn't feel like they really had topics or anything. So I don't know what edgy thing they were doing that maybe I missed. Like maybe they were being edgy on episodes I didn't hear or something, but I was mostly bored. But if you're just triggered by the fact that it's two white men talking, then yeah, sure, anything's gonna be triggering. I mean, I'm not even saying you're wrong. It's just right. that's a lot of shit that you just don't listen to. That's why you listen to us, probably. DJ says, just had to pop in and say I took. Oh, I'm sorry, but what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was about to say, because I don't know anything about them, but yeah, I've listened to podcasts like you say, two edgy white dudes where you're like, this is not fun, no entertaining,
right? And I wouldn't listen to that. Like I wouldn't listen to Joe Rogan. I was just not a fan of his like weird edgelord sense of humor, and just asking questions, offensive shit. So that's not what this show was when I was listening. Maybe it morphed into that. Right. I don't know, because this was like 10, 12 years ago that I was listening to the show. But yeah, at the time they were just kind of boring but funny. I don't know how to put it. It was fine. DJ says, just had to pop in to say I took a risk at the job last night because I sneak listened to stuff past the time, and oh my God, when you guys got to the little girl took herself to Target, I could not control my laughter. I was just all the way gone when you said she's an old lady who got hit by a truck and isekai'd into an 8-year-old. I died. Pretty sure my coworkers think I'm crazy because they forget they can't see my headphones. Too bad they were missing out on all this podcasting fun. Thanks for all the laughs. Thank you, DJ. Let's see. YouTube comments. Got 5 comments. Sort them. All right. Joe Smith says, Amen, Karen and Rod. S. Carter says, I have a middle name. Most people I know have a middle name. My grandmother didn't because, according to my mother, her name Josephine was long enough, which is crazy because my first name has one less letter. I didn't give my child her name to stop confusion, but her name is Brianna. And at her pediatrician's, there was another girl born on the same day with the same first and last name, probably spelled differently, but it was always the middle initial that identified them when I made her appointment or called in. I would have just got a new doctor and kept my kid from being a serial killer, but that's just me. Joe Smith says that Schultz guy is rude, and if anyone joked about Jewish stereotypes, he would be claiming they're anti-Semitic. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know shit about Andrew Schultz. That might be true. That's how little I know. Maybe he would. I have seen this before. There's a comedian I'm thinking of. I just won't say his name. Where I remember during the height of Black Lives Matter and during the pandemic, he was one of these. I make jokes about everybody. He's a Jewish guy, and he was making jokes about Black Lives Matter, making jokes about Trayvon Martin, make jokes about, you know, all kinds of stuff that Black people would be on this page being extremely offended by him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then October 7th happened last year, and I've watched this man make videos and long ass posts about how it's not funny and people need to, this anti-Semitism is real and all this shit.
Word.
And I mean, I've never popped on his page or whatever, but it was one of those like, so everything's not a joke.
Right.
When my people was dying, it was funny to you. Now that your people got killed and then y'all are killing a whole bunch of motherfuckers, joke time over, because that one's a little close to home. I don't know that Andrew Schultz is like that for all accounts and purposes.
But a lot of people do function like that.
For all accounts and purposes or whatever that I've heard he's very like the point is to be offensive and he'll take whatever the fuck. But I don't know that because, I think people that kind of lionize those guys look past a lot of those guys saw like their soft spots where they actually stop joking in order to not feel like feel like, oh, it's a joke on everybody. AC says too long didn't read. Pardon the bribe me night count off. One, the issue with Diddy fly out false equivalence is not about the sex but abuse and power. Let's focus on the sin, not the sex. This mixes straw man argument with parasocial outrage. It's important to note that the paid play flyouts are not the same as abuse, kidnapping, destroying property, or blackmail. Focusing on consensual flyout culture distracts from the actual crimes that are being committed. Agreed. Mm-hmm. 2, the sensationalized Mark Robinson, Tiffany Henyard stories, conveniently close to the election, speak to civil servants who care about nobody but themselves. Some news outlets quietly try to link blackness with corruption and incompetence when the angle should be the fallout of unchecked deification, corruption, and self-hate. I could be wrong and probably should touch grass, but the tinfoil hat slows the drying and absorption of SPF, so I figured I'd take a beating right in. I don't think I fully understood that point. I don't know the Tiffany Henyard story. I don't know if we covered that on the show. Tiffany Henyard, is she the one? She's the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. Okay, the black mayor. Well, she's been corrupt the whole time, so I don't think, put it this way, anyone who's associating this type of corruption with blackness was already fucking racist. So I don't really deal with those people and I don't really talk to those people or about those people very much. So if they see Eric Adams, Tiffany Henyard, and Mark Robinson and go, see, black people shouldn't be elected, then I don't know what to tell you. That's just a racist piece of shit. How many like George Santos do we have to see before we're like Donald Trump, who's running for president, before we're like associating whiteness with corruption? So I can't even pretend to treat that point seriously. 3, Karen's point about humans not being designed to absorb the amount of content social media displays is a huge factor in the collective depression set by these phones. Mm-hmm. Stay dope, heart emoji. That was number 4. Thank you.
Thank you. The
last one is from the ninth I think anyway. Hearing the mention of pumpkin spice song made me think about the Trader Joe's has pumpkin spice Chardonnay. Have you tried it? I have it sitting at home. I'm kind of afraid to try it. Might be delicious or terrible. Enjoying the show as always. Yeah, a lot of times that kind of stuff is terrible. Just because they throw pumpkin spice on something like that I normally wouldn't even drink like that. Um, but I'm not doing a lot of pumpkin spice this season anyway because of my diet, and a lot of the stuff has a lot of sugar and carbs and stuff. And I'm trying to cut back on all that, and I can't trust to have a fucking boatload of that shit in my house and not eat it. So
ain't that the truth? I will be eating it too.
Yeah, I just had to skip past it this year, unfortunately. All right, let's go to 2981 Freaky Friday. We got 6 comments on the website. Oh shit, I didn't do the poll. The poll for the last episode was shits and gigs, yay, nay, or meh. 14% yay. So they still like, hey, they fucked up, but we fuck with them. You know, they play us fuck up. 35%, and like I said, the curve is low for the male podcast landscape is pretty low. 35% say nay. They're not fucking with them. I don't blame you. I figured it would be high. And 51% say meh. And I'm probably in the meh. Like I don't go seeking their content out. When I see some of theirs that goes viral, I'm always happy for them. And in that, I'm like, oh, okay, good for them. Normally those clips are not fucked up. This is the first time I'm really seeing fucked up clips come out for them. And to be honest, not that many. Kind of surprising they have that many episodes been around that long. And at most I've seen 2 clips. Like it's, it's not saying they're they're not acquitted, but it's also like, oh, okay, yeah, I can think of a lot of podcasts that are way worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that more people listen to and give excuses for. I don't know. Like even people that hate them motherfuckers be sharing podcasts of motherfuckers that have put their hands on women, sexually assaulted people, accused of, criminally and shit. And but they talking hip hop, and we just supposed to look past it. I don't know what the fuck the rules are. Anyway, episode 2981, Freaky Friday. We got joined by D of the Bad and Boozy podcast. I think her race is today. So good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Appia says, who will tell Mark Robinson that Hitler, who he likes so much, was a pretty racist guy? In fact, that's what he is most famous for. Mm-hmm. And not the microaggression kind of racist, more like the maximal aggression type. I hate it when people from other countries appreciate the culture of my country without even making research. Yeah, I think he's done the research. He hate black people too. Rona Raphael said this is a tough one to keep up with what to comment about. I'll go with Sister Janet. When I first saw the story on Twitter, it luckily came with the article from The Guardian. So I sat down, read the long ass thing, and my goodness, I'm so glad you guys have brought up the algorithm issue before. Before getting out to the ignorance of VP Harris, she seemed isolated in London as a result of her divorce settlement with her last husband, explained in the article. Seemed like she'd rather be living in LA. At the same time, she kept talking about being in the space where she is no longer allowed others to control her path. I paraphrase. So when Karen rightly pointed out that there are people who would have provided the correct info to her, just as her interviewer tried to, could it be that she feels she's in control and no one can tell her otherwise? I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
I know maybe we should wait a while before we decide. That's what came across to me reading the article. I just felt very sad for her because she's been through or trying to escape. This is not the way. This is why I clean up my timeline to only people I want to follow, not giving me a high blood pressure. Janet, this song is about you. It's all about her. Yeah, I don't know her inner workings and shit. I didn't read the whole article or whatever. I think that kind of misinformation, it's a lot of ways it gets into people's head, but one of the main things is confirmation bias. And so if you've decided you don't like Kamala Harris for whatever reason, then you're willing to believe a lie about her birth without looking it up and to stand on that lie and be like, fuck y'all. I'm not apologizing. Rona Raphael wrote in again. Sorry, couldn't stop thinking about losing your gal to robotic voice Kennedy. I just keep hearing Riley from Boondocks rolling, laughing, pointing at me, calling me a bitch all day. I'll move to one of them countries where they give you wife with a visa, because damn, bro. And that woman sexting JFK Jr., RFK Jr., while writing damaging Biden must step down, saying washing Trump after being racist to Obama. Fuck her. Fuck NY Mag for employing that racist POS. Fuck everyone who reposted the articles hiding behind whatever one issue. I'm a remember her name, and fuck robotic weird ass ruled a I don't remember her name, and fuck robotic weird ass ruled a worm. Ruled a worm? Ruled by a worm? I don't know. JFK Jr. He kept calling JFK Jr. We have finished dealing with the lizard conspiracy, and you tried to add worms to our rulers. Anyone down with that clan? Fuck you.
Yeah,
too.
because they had worms in his brain.
Yeah, get behind the paywall, folks. Classic R&B lover says, hello, Ryder Karen. I think Mark Robinson and Janet are tied because the poll is about them. Robinson's actions are clearly worse, as is his entire coon-ridden existence. Coon-ridden existence. Got it. However, Janet outed herself as an uninformed dimwit, especially given that neither of her ex-husbands were black. The last pictures of her son reveal him to be extremely light. And then white children, not slamming them for the irony of the situation, as Paris has repeatedly stated that she identifies as black. Michael pretended were his, doubling down by refusing to let the issued apology stand and setting on a path to try and destroy damn near 50 years of goodwill is a thing to behold. This mess is a square that I never would have imagined being on a bingo card. People laugh, but Kat told us 2024 was going to be a hell of a year, and damn if that little man wasn't spitting. I forgot to say, I still think Michael Eric Dyson needs to be side-eyed for his video magnum opus. He took big offense at the suggestion he was trying to get with that white woman, so do all hoteps until they get busted with the alabaster angels. We see you, Dr. Umar. Well, I think that is funny, but I really do think he does not date white women.
He was.
I googled it. I read your comment last night, and I googled it in my powerless house because I have nothing else to do.
Right.
I said, let me look up his ex-wives. They all older black women. I truly believe that, brother. He was not trying to fuck that white lady.
He was like, "Daddy, not my jam."
Until he's caught fucking one or caught with one, I'm gonna go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt. I think more of us need to be like that. Besides, if you think about it, this makes Dyson's bizarre need to defend his fellow light skin and this from his nonsensical anti-factual belief that Kendrick said Drake was not black. He knew that, like his brethren, he is a fan, freaky ass nigga who needs to stay his ass inside. Well, he might be a fan, but and he definitely was wrong on that Drake shit. But I've never questioned Michael Eric Dyson's commitment to black folks. It's kind of like, and I'm not saying these guys are the same, because I think Stephen A has different qualms with black people and his stances, some conservative issues and black on black crime and all this type of stuff. But him and Stephen A. Smith are really great at TV. Yeah, they're just really good at it. It's just that's their lane. Yeah, it's just a muscle most people don't have, and so I've always found them to be infinitely entertaining. So I'll watch Michael Eric Dyson talk about a lot of shit, but I don't think he's like a coon or, when I got to that part of the apology or explanation, not even apology, I said, yeah, he didn't try to fuck her.
Yeah, he was like, live how you want to live, love how you want to love, but that ain't me.
Yeah. He said, I have never messed with a white woman.
He looked indignant. He was like, how dare you?
He was mad as hell about that shit.
Like, he was going to put out a white glove and smack somebody and call for a duel.
And the reason I believe him is, and we'll find out if he's lying, but he's a pretty public figure. It would be pretty easy to show him dating some white women and be like, this nigga's a full of shit. And it's been a week. No one's come out with anything. Nobody else got the text messages. Like, it just that one. I don't know. Gotta prove it to me. Evie says Mark Robinson may be a bigger coon than Clarence Thomas, and I don't think that was possible. I hate when the wives have to sit by these nasty fuckers with a smile and pretend like they forgive him. Maybe she's just as vile as he is, but I could never.
I don't even know what that man's wife looks like.
She's a black woman, and she is she's a black woman that is clearly like Ben Carson's wife. She's like, she dresses down. I think it's so interesting. Like I said, watching the GOP black people and how they move and their women, because it's so important over there. Like there's a ceiling on what you can be, obviously, because you're joining a racist party that has limits on what the black people are allowed to do. But it's the ceiling is getting higher, right? You can now run for president and they'll give you some tacit like, good for you, and then go get the fuck off the stage. Um, and so the ones that have the black wives, there's a type of blackness that the wife has to be.
Right.
Like they can't have a Michelle Obama stunner.
They
can't.
They can't have no black woman that's like gorgeous and
that's
shit
what I'm
like
saying.
that.
Yeah, they
Like,
can't.
yeah.
Like she can't dress, even if it's like you have to dress homely. You have to be
Yes.
homely to be a black wife of one of these black Republican guys, or else there's a limit to what that guy can be. They cannot feel threatened by that black woman's beauty in any level. They can't feel that you really think you're equal. And a lot of them, I feel like they have to pick a black wife. When they pick a black wife, it's a statement of like, hey, because I know my place.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
then
going after yours.
the ones that get the white women, it's like you're a little, you're flying a little close to the sun with that one, Icarus. Good luck. But they don't seem to like that. I still remember Herman Cain.
Good luck.
I still remember Herman Cain's fucking entire campaign folding because they found out he was trying to fuck some white women. Now, Trump become the nominee like 4 years later or whatever. Trump, come on. It's about impropriety.
Oh shit! Boom, boom.
Why does it do that? Oh shit! I'm sorry. Let me hang up. Sorry, I'm trying to turn
Our podcast. Skype do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
Oh, I see. No, I did an update in the background, and apparently it turned on our Skype as opposed to making it do not disturb. But
Right.
I fixed it.
No problem.
Anyway, Herman Cain tried to fuck white women, and that ended his fucking presidential campaign. And then now you have Herman Cain. And now you have Donald Trump, who I mean was a pussy hound. Talking about grabbing him by the pussy.
Right.
Became president. So clearly it was because of it was a black man. They was like, no, white women. Are you crazy?
Right.
Never underestimate the power the Kennedy name has on older white women. I've been around. This woman is 30. EVE. She not older. I've been around enough white women to know that Kennedy name is intoxicating. The Kennedys were once seen as American royalty, and they haven't had groupies. So I have no doubt that Cheryl Hines knew who she was marrying. Oh, okay. And this Olivia Nuzzy person was infatuated by the Kennedy name. I don't know. I don't know. I think she's a conservative and a weirdo. I was in college with a girl who's obsessed over JFK Jr., had his pictures plastered all over her dorm room. She would bring him up in conversation randomly. It's so strange. Well, she's a fucking weirdo. Janet was out of pocket for speculating on Kamala's race, but I love me some Janet. Oh, here we go. Yo, weak spotter. She was shits and giggles, though. Honestly, unless she comes out and directly endorses Dump, I'm just going to pretend this never happened. Well, at least you're showing that it's possible for you to be able to do that, because sometimes motherfuckers get high and mighty when other people do it, and I'll be like, nigga, you doing it too for somebody, because we all are.
Yeah, yes, I have mine. Well, I'm like, I know it's fucked up. Yes, they did it. I don't give a goddamn, and I will stand in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a be proud of it person. I'm more of a just I just won't talk about it.
Right.
Or just I don't really want to go into it, Like, yeah, I'm not a denial person either. Like, I'll be like, yeah, Kanye said that shit. Anyway, my beautiful dark twisted fantasy
is a banger.
And I don't need those two things to I don't need to interchange both of them. All right, Freaky Friday, YouTube, 4 comments. Ramsey P. Dunn says 5 stars for Mark Robinson and Nude Africa. Might I add Dr. Reverend Dyson's 3 wives. Ghost 3 ex-wives. Ghost of Zool says happy birthday, Rod. Thank you. CHM818 says, what has she done for me lately? That string of song compilation was fantastic. I really have to do a better job of remembering moments like that, because I need to find this moment in the download, make it its own little section, and put it on our social media, because that was funny. The whole song run of Janet Jackson songs after that article. I got to do a better job. Who had the worst scandal this episode? RFK Jr. and Nuzzy, Mark Robinson, Michael Eric Dyson, Bill O'Reilly, Janet Jackson, or Chingy?
Where did Chingy come from?
Remember he was gonna be at the RNC thing.
Chingy.
So you going with Chingy? Only one person agrees with Chingy. 1.79% say Chingy had the worst scandal on this episode. RFK Jr. and Nuzzy, Janet Jackson, Mark Robinson, Karen says Chingy. All right. Janet Jackson, I'm sorry, let me go from biggest to smallest, biggest to smallest. Mark Robinson won with 55%. I think he had the worst scandal. Karen, how are you going to be nodding your head in agreement? You just picked Chingy, the one who got the least.
Me and that person, we hand in hand going, Chingy, we going down the Chingy boat.
How you going to agree? Anyway, Mark Robinson.
That worse, but Chingy, you like, Chingy, where the fuck you come from? That's why I say he the worst, because you come out of left field going, who?
I see the logic. 55% Mark Robinson. Second is Janet Jackson with 21%. After that, it is tied RFK Jr. and Nuzzy and Michael Eric Dyson for 8.9, about 9% each. Then Bill O'Reilly, 4%, and finally Chingy with 2% of the vote. And Karen, just Chingy. What? All right. It is like, yo, we ain't heard this man's name a long time. And here we go.
The one hit.
Right. All right. Let's go to another beat. Let's play my brother's Game of Thrones beat. All right. Episode 2982, Intimacy Coordination. Got 6 comments on it. This is fun. We got to talk to Zuri.
Zuri had a great time doing that interview.
Zuri Pryor Graves, who has many titles. It was very fun. Was looking forward to this. Rona Raphael says another award-winning episode right here. Karen dropping fire questions from all my blind spots, and then later would say we're not related. Then, how come you knew how to cover the bases for me? We need to hit up Maury. Yo, Rod, I know you are freshly pumpkin spice minted 46-year-old. Happy birthday again. However, what kind of poll is that, sir? I had to open the classified archives for that one. Keep it PG. Think about the kids in Africa. Great guess. The poll was, have you ever had to simulate a sex scene? Little P says, I love this guest. The sex therapy part for kids threw me for a second until she reminded me that sadly there are kids who have been thrown out of their home for being part of the LGBT community, which is so sad. And I've been a foster parent mainly with infants and toddlers, so it isn't something that I've thought about. She brought some important things for me to think about with my kids for sure, and it was so fascinating to listen about the intimacy coordination for movie sets. I'll never forget about reading an article who said a director and an actor went behind an actress's back to really shove a stick of butter into her to get an authentic reaction, which is so wild and disgusting to think about. It is nice to know that these positions exist. Hopefully the regulations and certifications get in place so that harm isn't done by untrained people.
Yeah, because people really don't really consider that they're actors, but there are people too, and they have rights, and you can't just do shit to them. Like, they need safety, they need protection. And the thing is, these positions are very important because it prevents people from being sued.
Lil P says, also, we desperately need more black people and people of color in the social work and psychiatry field. I'm a white social worker, and it has been rare for me to see a person of color. I work with other adults, and some of the black patients have straight up told me they aren't comfortable fully divulging things because there's no way they can relate to me. I had one older gentleman ask me if I was sure I was comfortable transporting him to his appointment because the police might give me hassle, things I would never think about because it is in my experience.
Right.
I luckily have some black friends and acquaintances I can ask how to handle a certain situation, but it still doesn't always make people more comfortable with me. It is something I need to be more aware of because my kids are black and I don't want to inadvertently do something to make them feel bad. I also need to be aware of things so that when they encounter it in the real world, I can help them through it, make them feel comfortable enough with talking to me about it. It is also one of the reasons I work hard to establish a relationship with the bio family because there are things I will never be able to fully understand.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, those all sound like you're doing the right things and your heart's in the right place. I think also just as a parent, all parents mess up in some way, shape, form, or fashion, just because you and kids are not always the most understanding and all that stuff. So there's going to be some point where you go through things, but hopefully you establish enough of a rapport with your kid that they feel comfortable coming to you at the end of the day. And that, as they get older and have the benefits of hindsight, they see that your heart was in the right place. Because I think one of the biggest things that I feel like white parents that are raising black kids fuck up is they say stuff like, I don't see race, or I'm just raising a kid, not a black kid. And I think it's very important that you have the attitude that you have, which is I'm raising black kids. So I need to know about black shit. The kids need to be around black people. They need a connection with their biological black family, because there's some things either I can't relate to, or there's some things that, that I don't need my kid going out into the world with no knowledge of. That stuff matters.
Yeah, and also for the fact that you are open-minded to know that you don't know everything, and you are willing to do the work. And it's hard to be a parent, but sometimes being a parent, your children will challenge you in ways where what you thought you knew or what you thought was right might not be what's best for that child, and you have to be willing to adapt and adjust. And some people aren't. Some people, this is how it's been, this is how it always been, I'm gonna do it, I'm not changing anything. And sometimes that is not always the best way to deal with children. Children are people. They grow, they evolve, they change, they have feelings, they have emotions, they will express themselves. They'll let you know how they feel about things, and being very sensitive to children. And because children are not adults, children can't always express themselves in like full ass sentences like adults can, and they might not always be able to tell you how they feel, but particularly they will have actions and things that they do that will let you know something isn't right. And when you're not aware, be open enough to ask questions and know that you don't know everything. It's not an instruction book to it, it's not a manual to it. You learn as you go. You're gonna fuck up. Acknowledge your fuck ups and let the child know, hey, I fucked up, I didn't do it right, but I will do better going forward. It's a lot of parents that don't apologize for shit, and a lot of times, because like I said, children can be something else, but also acknowledging that you were wrong and that you are flawed helps children have more empathy for you as a parent.
Yeah. I think that crosses racial boundaries and everything. That's just parent. I went slightly off topic, but it's something that worries me that we don't have enough people of color in social work and psychiatry field, and I'm not sure how to help change that. Yeah, I mean, it's not all on you anyway, but you do what you can. I know there's initiatives and programs sometimes about getting black people and people of color and people of marginalized communities into these fields. So whatever you can do to support that, and of course, in this time is a precarious moment because a lot of courts are ruling against even those type of programs, but we'll see. Abby says, this is a very interesting show. I learned some new stuff. Great guest. I hope you're learning some new stuff from us. Okay. I thought you knew everything, sis.
Let's go.
I'm just kidding. Don't write in that you don't know everything. I know you don't know everything. Okay.
She her head right now.
We're both know-it-alls. That was a little know-it-all, the know-it-all joke humor. Just go ahead and accept it. Rod talked about a scene where he saw where a black actor looked ashy. I read it up and had the thought, maybe sometimes looking a bit ashy can just be normal. But because as I understood it, is a normal process. I read that taking care of ashiness is seen as self-care and self-respect, but it's still work that some people can't always do with busy lives. Appia, I'm gonna stop you right the fuck there. Here's why. We're not watching a reality show. We're watching a goddamn movie. Okay? A movie where, unless the scene is this woman is ashy for a fucking point of this scene, there's never excuse for somebody to have ashy ass feet on camera. Period. It's not something we would see in another, like, we're not watching Slice of Life. Nicole Kidman got makeup. Even the scenes where they don't have makeup, they got makeup. They got lighting. Everything is for a purpose. So to see something so casually lazy as to not moisturize the actor is offensive to me as a black person and just as a movie person. You know, and then you have to know the history of Hollywood and blackness. Black people having to show up and get their own makeup artists or do their own makeup and hair because white people that were hired to do the makeup and hair for everyone on the set did not know how to do black hair and makeup. And if they did, they had people looking like a fucking clown.
Yes.
That's the history of Hollywood and race and on screen. So I can't go with and I get why you had a benefit of doubt. This isn't your world, your lane.
Right.
I can't give them the benefit of the doubt of like, oh, they probably just thought, you know what? Look ashy, it'll just make you more human. No, they didn't think that. They went, why the fuck would we need lotion on the set? We're just filming your feet in the bed. That's it. What's the problem? Evie, and it's not like they made a joke of it in the scene. I noticed it and went, oh, come on. What is this? Evie says, this is a very interesting guest. I learned a lot. But it got me thinking about intimacy coaches on some of these steamy sex scenes like Kerry Washington and Tony Goldwyn on Scandal and Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrero on The Walking Dead. I have to wonder, though, weren't those scenes done before intimacy coordinators came on? Because they mostly came on after the Me Too movement.
Right. And some of those scenes, I know Scandal was way before that. And I think The Walking Dead was on way before that too. So depending on when these scenes were cut, a lot of these scenes were prior to them even coming on the scene.
So 2017 was when the hashtag went viral.
I think she said that was 2019.
And then I'm just saying 2017 is when the hashtag went viral.
Okay. Yes.
Intimacy coordination as a job did not start when the hashtag went viral. So now you got to wait a couple more years before that job becomes a job in Hollywood, right? As a reaction to the hashtag going viral. Scandal concluded in 2012. That's not right. Scandal started in 2012 and ran through 2018. That was the final season. So I don't think there was more than likely an intimacy coordinator for any of those scenes. Same thing with The Walking Dead when Denai Guerrero and Andrew Lincoln was there. So yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, back to this. She says, but it got to me thinking about intimacy coaches on some of those sexy scenes like Kerry Washington and Tony Goldwyn on Scandal, Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrero on The Walking Dead. I'm sure there was an intimacy coach, but no, there wasn't. But you can't tell me that Andrew and Tony didn't accidentally dip their fingers in the well. What? Those sex scenes were too real. I wonder what an intimacy coach would do if the actors are too into each other. Well, I guess we'll never know. But the thing I was thinking is I don't assume that just because people have a steamy sex scene that they were going too far or making it was getting too real.
Right.
Mostly because it's awkward and it's not sexy. It's fucking 15 people in a room, right. Lights, director telling cut, stop, change the camera position, do this. It's just a credit to people being able to do such great acting, in my opinion. And I also don't want to besmirch the actors and actresses in that I think it's not good if Tony Goldwyn or Andrew Lincoln were doing some assuming some levels of consent that went way beyond what needs to happen in a sex scene. I wouldn't assume that's actually very fucked up of them as people on that set. Like, Like, that's not a person I would want on my set. Is a guy like, oh, he really will like stick his finger in your pussy.
Right.
No, that's fucking gross and weird and not professional. And why the fuck do you have a career? Get the fuck out of here.
Agreed.
So I would not assume that kind of shit. But maybe that's like your fantasy and that's your way of expressing, like, I let them white men smack me down because I'm the opposite of shits and giggles. I just go up for the white man. I don't know. Just saying, like, to me, that's more of a like, oh, that seems out of pocket.
Yeah, and also, like they were saying, the guest was saying, it's all about camera angles and flipping. Like it's a lot prepared. It's not like you're really watching two people have regular ass sex. You're not. It's being edited. It's being cut. It's a lot of. You don't know how many shoots they had to get to and pieced it together to make it seem like a seamless sex scene.
Yeah, so it is what it is, though. I think people do get off on like the horniness of it. And I think I've just watched way too much hardcore pornography to be like, oh, I bet they really fucking. I'll be like, no, I've seen real fucking. That's not it.
Agreed.
Trey says, I absolutely love our guest Zuri in this episode. This is incredibly informative and interesting. Congrats to Zuri and other intimacy coordinators on finally gaining union recognition too. Well, they're fighting for it. They haven't gained it just yet. Thanks, Trey. Thank you. And thanks again, Zuri, Rod, and Karen. Thank you. Let's see. Comments on YouTube. We got 2. Happy birthday. Thank you, Enunciation 5044. And Shannon says, absolutely love Zuri. Thank you so much for your work with kids, Zuri. You're a superhero. Oh, that's nice. And the poll. Have you ever had to simulate a sex scene? 7% of our audience has. 93% haven't. But I'm not surprised by that number at all. I think there's all kinds of actors and stuff that listen to the show, of stage and screen. Right. So I could definitely see that happening. Not to mention if you just got like an OnlyFans. I don't know. I'm not getting in y'all business. Do what you need to do. 9 comments on our last episode of the week, which was chased by porn. RFK. Sean says, just wondering on the survey, did anyone else read, because the poll, not survey, it's a poll. Okay, Sean, you're supposed to be a fucking scientist. All right. You're right in every week correcting me with your know-it-all. You just called a survey. I am doing science with beakers over here.
I am offended.
I got beakers and Benson burners, and you would disrespect me?
Benson burners.
I can't believe you tried to play me like that, Sean. Wow, you might as well say your little survey. Just wondering on the survey, did anyone else read, do you believe RFK Jr. and then click no by reflex before finishing the sentence? I mean, I read the rest before submitting, but my default is always going to be no. Well, I'm glad you didn't fuck up my science by only halfway reading it and just submitting. Cameron J says, bah, ha, 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 I clicked no super fast as well. She didn't read what you said, Sean. You said you thought about it, but you didn't. She just said she did. I then reread and thought, well, she is a kook too, so maybe he pursued her. Maybe she may have pursued him after seeing him do those shirtless push-ups. Meanwhile, normal folks look at his whole steez as creepy and weird. Andrew says, hey, Rod and Karen, upon hearing you two talk about the details of RFK Jr.'s lame excuses, I immediately started thinking she blinded me with titties instead of she blinded me with science. It's in my head now, probably forever. Also, his girlfriend has been questionable with cheating scandals and breaking into Corey Lewandowski's hotel room. She has been a problem, but she has gotten away with it due to being conservative, blonde, and skinny. The GOP repeatedly shows us their values, and the media constantly excuses the hypocrisy. You're on point about Hillary's emails not being hacked and people who got mad and offended about that. I'm so sick of stupid Americans, including Janet and Randy. The willful stupidity is staggering. Thanks for the awesome show. Carmen J says, Rod, your RFK Jr. impersonation killed me. I cannot. Thank you. I thought it was pretty good, honestly. And I barely listen to that man, but that's what he sounded like to me. Obvious says, when I studied law, I saw a clip of him on Twitter, and he was talking about how kids now don't have as much sperm or testosterone. And I'm like, is this man running on make cum great again? Is that what he's going to do to America? We need to make him president so that we can get more sperms and more testosterone in the young boys. What the fuck do y'all be thinking about? That's not a real platform or policy that you shouldn't. A president shouldn't even be talking about that. If you want to be president for real, weirdos. Abia says, when I studied law, I hoped for those fun interactions with me just saying some shit and earning millions. Unfortunately, at least the school experience was just reading tons and tons of books for example, on construction law, wondering what changed now that a comma was a semicolon now in the text. I guess fun comes later, or maybe only in America. Probably only in America. I mean, y'all don't even get checks over there. What the fuck would you know about the world? Janet is old. That's the excuse. She is 2 years younger than Kamala herself, so maybe it's not a great one. Agreed. In a movie, I would like Rod to play RFK Jr. Everybody keeps saying JFK Jr. I think he would pull it off, and whoever says otherwise is racist. Yeah, I could put on some white face. I could do it. All I gotta do is just talk like that. EVE says, I hate people are taking Jaguar rights so seriously. I do believe there's some truth in what she's been saying about Diddy, but she can't have been there for everything. That's how they get y'all, really. They be like, it's some truth. I give her nothing. I'm not giving her nothing. And I don't mean that in some like, she's got to be lying about everything. I just mean, if you will lie about some shit, then I don't need to just be like, let me just parse out what the lie is. This is my issue with the Cat Williams interview. Like, it's entertaining, and I would take it as entertainment. But if you expect me to walk around here saying, Kevin Hart sucked dick to get in the Illuminati so he could get that part in the 40-Year-Old Virgin, I'm not doing that with y'all. That's not a serious conversation. I can't let him be this. And this is a thing that I just noticed. I think is a weakness in people. But maybe I see it as a weakness now because it's something I'm very stringent about. I'm very strident about. Starting conversations based off of people who we know are unreliable narrators is a recipe for fucking disaster. Mm-hmm. We know better, and we keep letting these people do it. We'll talk about Amanda Seales at some point this week. We can't let her be the jumping off point anymore for like, this must be what happened. How many times does she got to be wrong before it's like, we should verify that that's exactly what happened before we just assume Issa Rae's a piece of shit or problematic or messed up somehow. Let's go fact check. That's what I like to do. And when you come back with facts, it's not as fun. It's not as spicy.
Not as sexy.
But honestly, it's better. You're better off for it. So that when you do have a reason to like not like some shit that Issa Rae did, you at least had the facts and not just vibes. But people were all off of vibes. It's so weird. Anyway. People just want salacious gossiping to see a spectacle. If more people were involved, I'm sure it will come out eventually. It feels like she's taking advantage of the Diddy fallout to be in the spotlight. Yeah, and honestly, man, with her, I guess what I see. So let me just say that I can't say, I'm not diagnosing her. I don't know her, but some of the statements she's made are so incongruent with facts that I'm like, I feel like these people are taking advantage of her. Like, to put her on your podcast right now is fucked up to me. Like, you're really just going, here's somebody that will throw some shit at the wall and we can go viral with the shit they threw at the wall. Any other time, you wouldn't even have her on your show. Because you're like, no, she's not in the right mind and she just be saying shit and you can't prove it and I don't want to get sued or whatever the fuck. But now, hey, since we're all just making shit up, why not? Say Still is so sad. She's trying to take Candace Owens' spot, but nobody pay attention. Poor little tink tink. I know. It's almost sadder when the coons don't resonate. It's like, damn, you sold out for nothing.
For nothing.
Like Michelle Tafoya. You sold out for nothing. You went over to be you left a good job with that Sunday Night Football.
Good job.
A good ass job. You left that job to go be a right-wing hack that doesn't even rate. No one checking for you. Ugh, the ghetto. Miami Vice says, hey, Rod and Karen, just wanted to comment that I agree that the Diddy situation is just entertainment for most folks. They don't care about the victims or justice. Like you showed in this episode, that white man who wrote the fake memoir about Kim Porter, that was so sick and disturbing to write fanfic about the untimely death of Kim and pretend she wrote or co-wrote it. He had no regard for her children and family. Shame on the people who bought that nonsense. They didn't even question the source. It's right. It's like 59 pages. What are y'all doing? It's full of typos and spelling mistakes. What are you doing?
Right.
You that thirsty to just be talking? You can go make up something better than that.
Right.
All they cared about was that it was backing up their conspiracy theories. Also, that author tried to pretend he was black. I guess to give the book what he thought was credibility. It was weird and racist. Jamal, really? I feel like he wrote the book based on gossip he accumulated from social media. Anyways, I've been seeing some posts on social media about Kim Porter, and I find it very strange and out of touch. The speculation about her death and folk concerned about wanting the truth to come out as if they knew and cared about this woman more than her family. They're lying to themselves. Like you said, this is pure entertainment to them, and they are trying to pass it off as concern. Yes. Sometimes I feel like people don't live in reality anymore and treat everything like a game. We're in an unserious era.
Yeah, unserious.
None of this is serious anymore. This used to be, this would have, it's so weird to say this, but I'm dead ass serious. I feel like if this same thing happened with Diddy getting arrested 20 years ago, it goes completely different in the way we're talking about it.
Yes, it does.
Now it's just like memes and jokes and no Diddies and videos about baby oil and shit. It's not the same. We've all been affected by it. But there was a time when it was like, no, an unserious person is a comedian that talks about this.
A comedian.
You're going to go to the comedians and the funny people like me and Karen and shit, and they're going to be the ones to make jokes. But you shouldn't be looking at like the news. You shouldn't be looking at serious news people and social media personalities that are claiming to be journalists speculating and making jokes about this shit. But that's where we are now.
Trying to give quips. Bitch, I come here for news or facts.
I feel like social media and reality TV has warped many people's minds, and they treat real life like a reality TV show. This also applies to how politics is treated, how the news media feeds into it. Agreed. The other thing about the Kim Porter thing that nobody wants to talk about because they ain't reading them indictments and they don't really give a fuck. It's going to be interesting if these trials happen, because Kim Porter is alleged to have participated in some of the stuff. Meaning there are victims who say they were victimized partially by Kim Porter, like physically assaulted, forced to have sex with her as part of it. Now you could also say, well, Diddy made her be the one to do it. Like there, in some of these allegations, it's like, for lack of a better term, it's like Kim Porter was playing the bottom bitch of the Diddy harem situation, and where she was also like an enforcer in it. That's not gonna fit the narrative that many people have of just she was a victim. And I'm not saying she's not a victim. There's no such thing as a perfect victim. I just know how these people react.
Right.
And when they find out somebody's not a perfect victim, they jump to like, you abuser, you this, look at how they talk about Usher, who they think was groomed by Diddy. And then they go, well, he must have participated in it because he's an abuser. I can't believe y'all support him. This is not about context and an actual real conversation. This is more about like takes and shit.
It's not based in reality at all.
Yeah, so I we will not legislate this out in the court of social media. Abia says about Diddy, I'm pretty sure that he was abused himself as a child. See what I'm saying? Speculation, projection. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm saying we don't know this. You know what I'm saying? So she could be right, but I'm literally on the show talking about the allegations and the fact, like what is factual, what is not. People would rather speculate. They'd rather make up their own headcanon. We may come back and find out these things are true or not, but they'd rather speculate what Kim Porter was than to look at the allegations and the testimony of the victims and what is alleged in these suits. They'd rather just be like, or what if it's this? It could be. But it also like, why are we entertaining what it could be when we're going to find out some of this?
We will find out.
I promise you, if this is even part of it, he'll be in court saying I was abused as a kid as part of his defense, more than likely, if he was abused as a child. Because normally that's what can help mitigate some of the consequences when people like this are put on the stand, or put it on trial. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll finish the comment, but so funny how perfectly this illustrates the point. I'm pretty sure he was abused as a child himself, and the parties and the abuse of people was his attempt to recreate the situation from his youth. But this time he is the one in control. I don't know why I'm so sure, but I am. It's because you're speculating and you are almost always very certain about everything you write into the podcast. This is not an excuse. Maybe the person who abused him was abused again in their youth and so on. People should deal with their trauma, not give it on to others. And with his money and influence, he could do a huge deal of damage to others and create so many broken people. I'm not saying you're making an excuse. I don't think anybody's accusing you of that, but you may be making up that even happened to him So I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's a whole conversation with yourself. That had nothing to do with us. All right. YouTube, let's see what they got. Tall Tomboy NYC says, turns out Janet is still mad about what Kamala said about Michael Jackson when she was DA of San Francisco when he was what? I literally put it on do not answer. What is happening?
Do you need to shut it down?
I might have to, because I don't want people to do not disturb. I put it on away. Guys, I'm so dumb. I put it on away. I meant to put it on do not disturb. Now it'll work. Anyway, so
it was like, oh wait, I guess you're going. I guess you're here now.
Sorry to Allegra and whoever else just called in. Sorry. Anyway, it says goes on. I don't know what she said about Michael, but I guess she said he was guilty. Roderick says, shout out to another Roderick with an E in it. I will never call her Sage Steele again. She will forever be evil Misty Stone. Yes. And for the record, I came up with that joke like 4 or 5 years ago. Every once in a while I re-up the tweet because now everybody's making the same joke. And I'm like, no, I'm a perv from way back. Okay. I'm a legit scumbag. I saw it first and I made the joke first. Y'all wasn't saying this shit before Rod came on. Janet is MAGA goofy, says Joe Smith. DL didn't have to go that far, but that was funny. Can't wait to hear Cat Williams make jokes about this. Yeah, he didn't have to go that far, but that's DL. He gonna go that far. I laughed. I don't know. Only reason people didn't laugh is because of Janet. That shit was funny.
Agreed, because it was Janet.
Rashad says, congrats on hitting 200 on the bench, Rod. You'll be at 225 before you know it. I think so. I think that's going to be my goal, fam. Michael says, did you say bouncing like Persephone's titties on Instagram? I choked, still coughing. Thank you, Michael. Another. See? And then watch this. People going to start saying that, like checks bouncing like Persephone titties. And then they 4 years from now have to be like, I said it first, right? I seen them titties and I said checks bouncing. Boom. Christoph says, I'm being chased by porn. I fell out my damn chair. He got a policy. I mean, a concept of a policy. Christoph put a minute mark in it. Let me see. How can I play it at that minute mark? Let me see. If I click. Okay, yeah. Let's see. I got a policy. I mean, a concept of a policy, says Earl. Lucky Eagle says, I don't know why folks are caring what Janet believes. Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote. It's against their weird religion. I'll tell you why they don't. Why? One, why do you care? Why are they doing an article where they're interviewing her? Why do you listen to her music? Why do you go to her concerts? Because you do care what she thinks about stuff. The other part of it is, the reason I reject that is because why care about anything anyone ever says ever, right? Because there's a reason people care. You put it out there. The second reason is she has a huge platform and it was misinformation. There's one thing for her to say, like, I'm not voting. There's another thing for her to say, I don't agree with Kamala Harris's policies. To say she has a white father and is lying about her race, essentially, that does mean something. And people, that's not about being a Jehovah's Witness. She wasn't talking about voting, really. She was asked how does she feel about the first black woman running for president. She turned it into she's not a black woman. That's weird. And so, yeah, people care, and I think it's okay that they care. Jason says, I'm similar to Rod. I don't have many solo photos from when I was a kid. Someone is usually in there with me, and 90% of them posing like Hulk Hogan. I'm posing like Hulk Hogan. So it appeared retroactively I was a young coon. Shout out to Hulk Hogan for ruining it. And for the record, you're not alone. I got some photos of myself posing in cowboy boots and cowboy hat, and I got a birthday cake that was a Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee car. So I definitely, when the Oppo research, I can never run for president, because when the Oppo research come out and they pull up that motherfucking coon, me dressed as in the cowboy boots with the car, and I'm not, the black vote is gone. It's gone for me. The motherfucking FBA niggas is they gonna get me up out of here right away. Like, he's definitely not giving us reparations. He's just a good old boy.
Get him out of here.
But RFK Jr.
You want to vote for Roger like Dukes of Hazzard.
Right, exactly. Roger Morrow enjoys Confederate flags on cakes.
Right?
I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. But RFK Jr. is what happens when you only inherit the negative family traits. He's like being a Curry and inheriting questionable defense and a broke jumper. Damn, Janet. But if that Jackson miniseries they showed when I was a kid was in any way accurate, I guess we should be glad none of the Jackson kids killed anybody. Yeah, I mean, they is from Gary, Indiana, so it could have happened. Shit, are we sure they didn't? Anyway, Layla says, I'm hella late leaving a comment. I got a little behind because life tested me. I like to add +1 to Angela's comment about Home Depot and Lowe's. Episode 2980, most people don't read. We also don't F with Hobby Lobby because they're pro-life stance. Okay. I don't be keeping up with the boycotts, but I feel y'all. Get y'all boycott on. I don't be going in there anyway. Do you believe JFR? Now I'm doing it. God damn it, you sons of bitches, you got me.
Said JFK Jr.
Do you believe RFK Jr. was being pursued? Yes or no?
No.
95% say no. It's not looking good for the boy.
I don't believe you at all. D hit up the thing and said that they snatched the top fundraiser award today.
All right, well, we have a voicemail from D, and I was saving that.
Oh, my bad.
Because I'm the one normally in charge of doing the show. It's all right. No, you a loose cannon. Do your thing.
I got excited, D.
Yeah, do your thing. No,
I'm not bad. We'll wait till your voicemail.
No. Oh, girl, baby girl.
What could I possibly know about doing the show? All right.
I don't be knowing shit, y'all. I'm part of the problem.
All right. Let's go to the to voicemails.
Why did you kill that dog?
They're eating the dog. They're eating the pet. They're eating the dog. All right, let's get into these voicemails. I believe we have 3 from Amon.
Hey Rod, hey Karen, this is Iman. So first, happy birthday, Rod. I hope you had a great birthday. I love the pictures on Facebook. I love that picture of Karen. I think that was your graduation. I'm assuming it's your graduation. But it just took me back to my childhood when, because I would only see hairstyles like that in the hair magazine, the hair salon.
Come on.
I didn't get to have those hairstyles because wearing hijab, and my mom was probably like, you too grown, trying to get that hairstyle. But anyway, also I love the episode where Karen did the rendition of It Wasn't Me, and y'all are so in tune. I love y'all so much. It was so fun. And then about the swords. So if, God forbid, you did die by sword, I'll be like, yes, she would lovingly joke on you. But then I was thinking, what kind of situation would I have myself in to get killed? My mom was like, you died for Karen. I was like, because Karen has famously said that she is not a ride or die. I was like, yeah, because Karen was one. And then poor Rod being stuck there. I was like, oh no. But we still love you, Karen.
You got to be.
And that was the reason.
Be yourself.
I feel like introverts keep our heads on a swivel. And the only time I don't have my head on a swivel is because my husband distracts me and he's an extrovert. I was like, yeah. Like, I'm not. Don't be the reason. Great. I love you. But yes, great weekend. Bye.
Thank you. And you're right. That's probably how it would happen. Karen talking to some sword person trying to be nice. And then this is the picture she was talking about. It was my high school graduation. With my peoples.
I remember that.
And that's Karen's updo.
Yeah, that's back in the day where you know they ain't do the big Coliseum thing. You had to go. You were outside at your school campus and have all the people in the neighborhood pissed because they can't because everybody's parked in front of their driveway all goddamn morning.
All right, let's go to the next one. Oh wait, no, it's not one. This is wait, where is this one? Okay, yeah. Okay, Allegra called on Monday. There we go.
Hi, you two. It's Allegra. It's been a minute, but I'm continuing on my catch up with you guys. I'm now on August 3rd feedback. So, number 2952, the Dishy Incel. First, love that title. Second, I wasn't going to call in, but then one of your callers talked about how they noticed that the Daily's been playing more like weird negative stuff and funneling it as truth. And I thought I was crazy because I've been noticing that too and being like, what the fuck? So I'm glad to know that I'm not alone on this whole shift that I'm noticing. It's making me feel weird about like our journalism and the people that we try to trust. Um, and since I'm here, I love eyeglasses gate. I am an online shopper for two reasons. One, it's cheaper, and two, um, I need to have longer arms, and it's harder for me to find that when I go to a regular optometrist. Sometimes they have to switch order, or if they have one or two frames that have longer arms, they're like boring and lame. I love having funky, crazy glasses. So yeah, that's my input for the online. I don't think that going to optometrist sucks. I could care less, but it's more cost effective for me to shop online and get what I need. So yeah, anyway, just my little 2 cents, and I'm sure there's something else I wanted to talk about, but whatever. I'm old and tired and forgetful. Love you guys.
Thank you, Allegra.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, I've only heard good things from people that have bought their glasses online, so that's dope. And the last one is from D, who Karen spoiled.
Hi, Brian and Karen. This is D. I was trying to get in to call like just in time for the feedback show. Hopefully, this makes it. Just want you to know I'm done the race. Team Tam Dukes, we won. Not only did we win as a team, we knocked our fundraiser goal out of the park. $5,000 we needed, and we raised $6,075. As of Thursday night, I only had like $3,900, and my team came through. And many of those donations in the last week were from TBGWT listeners, and I'm telling y'all that helped to light a fire under everyone else's butt, in addition to me constantly posting on social media and texting and doing all the things. But we won. The race was rainy today, but it did not stop the show. I'm about to go home and hang out with my family and celebrate this win, but I'm so grateful that we're able to raise so much money to support the women of Marion House and reach our goals. Yeah, it means a lot to me. So hopefully this makes it. Thank you.
That's dope, man.
That's
What a great voicemail to end it on. That was great.
And thank you everybody that donated and things like that. And thank you, D.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the voicemails. Here we go. All right, voicemail time. Jennifer says, "Hey, so I listen to Shits and Gigs, and I have been since the pandemic, and TikTok kept showing me those videos. They do have very juvenile Henry. They do the pause thing when they think something sounds sus. I enjoy them like I still enjoy the Jackass movies. Sometimes I just need something dumb to listen to and watch. They had an explosion of fame when they sold out in the O2 in London and their US tour in 10 minutes, which is insane for two guys who just decided to do a podcast one day. Neither were entertainers before. Part of the issue, I think, is the US tour they did was the fact that their manager is a white girl. So you have two guys who don't fully understand Black American culture having their guest booked by a white girl who probably knows even less. I was surprised that they were on Andrew Schultz's podcast because I know his jokes tend to be pretty racist. Also, their schedule was fucking rough. The podcast tour they did was 10 days, which went from New York to LA in that time, and the same with the US tour shows, which was 6 weeks. They only stayed a day or two in each city. I think that is how that comment about Atlanta women slipped out. What should have been stayed inside thought, just like the bros slipped out. I obviously can't speak to how Black women feel, as I'm a middle-aged white woman from Indiana. I will say they are definitely gym bros, and I would never be their type given I'm over 300 pounds. The scenarios they come up with are pretty damn funny, though, and they had several Black creators on their show try to help other creators. I was honestly shocked that they even apologized because they have openly talked about how they hate cancel culture and the notion that their show is a safe space. But really, that's just my opinion. Also regarding the I mean, they've collaborated with like Kev on stage and stuff. I mean, I thought they were just like highly regarded people. But that does not, being popular and well liked and highly regarded does not necessarily mean that they're any of the safe space type things. And like I said, and this always happens whenever someone comes to prominence because people are promoting them for what they aren't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, it's like whenever someone shares our podcast to be like, I listen to Black Out too because they don't be talking like Joe Budden. It's like, that's not gonna convince people to listen. Like, you just have to share what you do like about the show and it'll be fine. But a lot of what they're, at least my algorithm, I can't say for anybody else, a lot of how Shits and Gigs got in my algorithm was literally Black American women sharing them to be like, this is much better than the Joe Budden, Charlemagne, Fit and Fresh, whoever else, Black Man of the Hour that kind of shits on Black women all the time, or that does like a lot of the like weird macho shit. This is better than that. Look at these guys having fun. And they were always sharing the clips of like them being physically complimentary of each other, which is a whole other cascade of thoughts about two heterosexual men complimenting each other physically in ways that almost are sexual. So there's people that don't like that and call it like queer baiting and stuff. I've heard people that in the wake of this are like, and also those clips were bad. But at the time when I saw people sharing them, they were saying it was good. So a lot of this is also them making those people probably feel a bit foolish. Like, I said you were good and you turned out to have some fucked up views about Black women. Now I'm extra mad in a way that I wouldn't be if you were somebody I never even held at any level of esteem or never even shared their material.
Agreed.
I would just be like, whatever, fuck those guys. But now that I co-signed you at one point, y'all got to go down.
Right. And also, just because you like something and enjoy something, a lot of times people act like that becomes you, or you are in agreement with everything they do and everything they say. These things are not true.
Right. Also, regarding the glass dildo story, I have something that can definitely kill someone if I swung it hard enough into their temple. It's about 4 pounds and shattered my big toe when it slid off my bathroom counter. Oh, dang. Ooh. I, of course, have thought about the potential news story. Thankfully, I live in an area where I'm not likely to ever experience a home invasion. My husband has no desire to steal it from me. LOL. Yeah, good luck.
Good luck with that.
Oh, she included a picture of it. All right. Y'all want to see what she's talking about? And yeah, this thing does look like it could do some damage. If like, this is like something they might kill somebody with on
back in the day.
No, I was gonna say on Gangs of London is what I was gonna say. Trying to make it bigger. How do I make it bigger? That's now, damn, I saved it to my Google Photos. That's not what I wanted to do. Open link in new tab. Will that do it? I'm just trying to make it so y'all can see it because it's so small.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. If I do this. Okay, that was almost it. Okay, that's kind of big. It's a Enjoy Pure Wine stainless steel dildo. Yeah, you could hurt somebody with this.
Yeah, you actually could.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee could like murder several ninjas with this shit.
Ooh.
Easily.
Take several people down. That thing look like it'll boomerang back at you.
Yeah. Aaron says, 2980, most black people don't do the reading. No, it's just called most people don't do the reading. I see you, Aaron. Hey, Karen and Rod. I was one of a few at a white wedding, and they did not play, and they played Not Like Us, and all of them were singing along. It's over for Drake at the Super Bowl. Yep. Let's see. Bree says, hi, Rod and Karen. I'm currently listening to Sunday's Freaky Friday episode with tears in my eyes. Y'all talking about the right wing flyer with Chingy on it, and y'all took the thought straight out of my head. When I saw the flyer on Twitter, my eyes instinctively looked at the bottom row. Confusion set in because why isn't he in his rightful place on the flyer? So I looked higher and to the right, still didn't see him. As my eyes went left, I saw Don Jr.'s picture. After that, I stopped to read the post again because where the fuck is Chingy on this flyer? Well, I looked again, and there he was in the top billing spot with a big ass picture on the left side. I burst out laughing. So for y'all to discuss this same thought just made my day. Have a good one, Bree. Thank you, Bree.
Yeah, because you if somebody says Chingy, you go, okay, you're gonna be at the bottom, right? Somewhere with the smaller pictures. Like, nope.
Miss Smart writes in and says, following the CBC, we talked about the Congressional Black Caucus, and there was a listener there who saw Reese Colbert, and that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Karen Rod, following the person who mentioned Reese in the CBC, while y'all might not see the solid line between your podcast and status as sit-down comedians, there is so much value y'all would bring to and get from the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's annual legislative conference. During the day and evenings, even if you aren't going to evening parties, there are solid food and beverage-based events that would be lip-smacking good. See what I did there? LOL. No, for realsies, it isn't how it and other events and locations have been characterized online lately. It really just mostly black people being comfortable strategizing, mostly black people. Y'all are literally spreading political awareness via community outreach at a grassroots independent level. So yeah, that has a place at the convention, or you could just come through and interview Michael Steele, because I trust y'all to ask stuff the people really want to know. Like, when Mike Tyson was your brother-in-law, did you attend his bachelor party? Cheers, Miss Smart. Thank you. Michelle writes in, pumpkin spice season. First off, happy birthday, Rod. Hope you enjoyed your day. Secondly, after listening to one of your episodes last week, I decided to report Megyn Kelly's episode with Rich Lowry to the FCC. That's the one where he said the N-word. His use of the N-word is offensive, and I hope more people report it. Third, here's a list of the best pumpkin spice stuff, and it's from Tasting Table, best pumpkin spice items. Yeah, if it wasn't for me trying to cut back on that shit, I'd be all over it.
Oh, yes.
Last emails from Allegra. 2969, the fabric of our community. Hello, you two. First, I tried to call the message line, and Rod picked up the phone. We both panicked. Yeah, sorry.
Panicked. That's serious.
Rod, you said, oh shit, I'm sorry. And I heard Karen in the background say, why are you doing that? I said all these things, but in my head, silently, as the phone was on fire, hung up and threw the phone down. So here I am typing this message because I wanted to say, I'm logically thinking, if I call right back, you'll pick up again. You know what though, you would have been right, because I didn't figure out the setting until later at the D call, so it would have been the same thing. Anyway, I just want to say I love Roger too. He's my favorite character on American Dad. Life and its many complications have made it so that I've not watched in years. I too remember when it came out, my ex and I dug it. One of my favorite moments with Roger is when he decided to be a physical trainer. Some details I'm missing. He was so obsessed by I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base. It turned to a horror sequence. Using that scary ass music following him around, he would appear all menacing with that song playing in the background. Yeah, I remember that. I felt like some contemporary directors watched that episode too, because now I see seemingly innocuous songs being played as sound drop to horror or menacing behavior in film and TV. Brilliant show. Sorry we had the phone mishap. I low-key love we had a phone mishap. Makes you more real to me. Karen, I love that you are embracing the world of cool glass frames. Also, I am outgoing introvert, so I do a minimized version of calling folks honey and sweetie, etc. Difference is when I retreat back into myself when the interaction is done. I talk to people and also don't talk to people. Straddling between Rod and Karen and personality. Wait, don't mean for that to sound sexy, or do I? I don't know. Anyway, enough of that. Love you too, Allegra. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
So everybody was panicking on that phone call, huh?
Yeah, I was like, why is it even ringing? I had a lot going on. We did physically get some stuff in our mailbox.
Hey, if you want to send us anything, go to the Black Guy Who Tips page. We have an about page, and at the bottom of it has our contact information. If you want to send us or mail us anything, we also have a Amazon wish list. So if you be like, I just want to randomly send,
And the wish list is in the show notes.
yeah, everything is in the show notes for you to have the ability to do that. You're not obligated to at any way, shape, form, or fashion, but some people do, and if you choose to, you just know that you have the ability to do that.
It is about that time of the year. We're eventually gonna mail out, I'm sure, some more holiday cards and all that stuff. So looking forward to all that stuff, and yeah, we like getting gifts and stuff from y'all. It's always been cool and worked out, so thank you. All right, this one comes with a printed letter. Thank you for printing, because I don't be reading y'all cursive right. Tommy D says, good day to you, Rod and Karen. It has been a little more than a year when the folding chair became the official weapon of the show. I had an idea. A printer with ink correctly connected to the Wi-Fi and knowledge of the wrestling action figures accessories. Hope you enjoyed them. They are also cell phone holders. They are extra balls deep in pregame. They are extra for balls deep in pregame for Justin. Okay.
Oh.
Let me see what this is. Oh, this is cool. Hold on. Let me open this up. It's folding chairs with our logo on it.
Oh, that's adorable.
Oh my goodness. Hold on.
Oh shit now.
Pull this out for y'all. Man, next time we do a live show, we might have to give one or two of these away. But it actually does fold out like a chair. Like, as you can see here.
Oh.
And it has our logo on it, both of them there. And you can let it hold your cell phone. All right.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Damn, Tommy. Yeah.
We got some very
like a 3D printer or something, right? To do this?
We got some very, very talented people out there, y'all.
Oh man, yeah. Imagine Sting hitting somebody over the head. Oh, and it's not just that one logo. It's all of them. Can y'all see that?
Ooh, yay!
Wow. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. I'm gonna take that as a birthday present. I'm gonna just call it. I'm gonna say that's what it was. And the last one, we got this envelope. I don't know what this is. Who this is from? What this is for? Let's see. Oh, it's a book. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, this is sometimes we get a book from like editors and stuff about interviewing people, and this one is a book I obviously haven't read yet, but it's What Work Means by Claudia Strauss, Beyond the Puritan Work Ethic. So maybe reading this and interviewing her, we'll find out.
Yay!
But all right, y'all, that's it. Thank you for listening. I got gym and then my family like reunion type thing, so we'll see you guys tomorrow, where our guest will be Brandon Collins. So that will be a fun time.
Yes.
And like I said, hopefully tonight we'll be able to do the nerd off that we couldn't do yesterday.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
So look out for an email from me if you're a premium listener who loves nerd shit. All right, y'all, until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Bye everybody, have a good night.